Hello there, YouTube, and welcome to another episode of Critique Me Not. Here we'll be critiquing a picture of Pizza Face Titus, or Tidus, as you might know him, or earless, or sketchiness, or collared ruffledness, or exclamation mark. What is this misspelling? Sorry, I was 12 years old. I have no idea what I was thinking at the time, but I just wanted to make fan art of Final Fantasy X, and it just turned out horribly wrong. So we're gonna fix this train wreck. Looking at Tidus, however you want to say it. I'm going to call him Titus. This is his face, and I'm mapping out like his anatomy so that I can kind of remember how to break him down later. And yeah, his hair kind of defeats that. Earlier I had done a drawing of him holding a ham and a Santa bag, and it was late at night. I was exhausted, and it just looks like crap. So we're going to go back and draw a whole nother version. Part of this was I was late at night, didn't have reference, so starting this new revamp of this, I'm going to be using reference for the pose. Drawing guys in a natural portrait pose is not something that comes naturally to everybody, so guess what? Google is your friend. I just looked up masculine portrait poses, or men portrait poses, and just looked through, grabbed a picture that I thought fit Titus's personality, and here I am breaking it down. So you can see I marked out the gesture with the top of his head, the line of his spine, and then I'm adding in more of the details of his body and the shapes that it breaks down to. Don't be afraid to move your reference out of the way so you can see what you're drawing. Here the arm's moving back, and the other arm's like tucked into his pocket. And I try to capture Titus's likeness in his face, because he definitely does not look like this model. And so part of the challenge will be using this model's anatomy, but then changing what I have here and making it look like a different character. So here I'm filling in the face structure. The head is kind of hard again to map out on Titus because of how the hair kind of covers it all and stuff. So I just drew the hairline, and then I'll fill in the hair shape later. The eyes for Titus are definitely not too narrowed. I want to keep them open so that he still has that young liveliness. Here I am breaking down the abdominal muscles. There we go. His abs and his bicep. And I'm gonna erase the underdrawings so that I can see more clearly the muscle lines that I want to be more dominant, not just the shape and structure lines. So I'm working on his hand here that's tucked into that pocket, and his elbow. And yeah, you can see me erasing. I'm going to tilt his abs a little bit. I didn't like how he was leaning, like he'd been punched and was forever stuck that way. Now he's a little bit straighter up. Now I'm going to come in and try and make those features a little bit more like Titus. I feel like he would be smiling sheepishly, just like, hey you guys, yeah, haha, I don't like being here. So I've got his hair now coming in, and you can see how I'm breaking down the shapes. And notice how those shapes come from the hairline. They don't just magically appear on his head. They come from his skull, and so it helps to draw the skull underneath the crazy hair and then draw the crazy hair. I definitely recommend that for all crazy anime characters. Now I'm breaking down this hand. This was really difficult because of how weird the neck is turned here, and sometimes you just gotta make changes based off of what you know is right versus what this fashion photo looks like, because it might have been photoshopped or changed, and if it just doesn't feel or look right, then it's just not right. I don't care if you have reference, it's just not right. So I'm trying to fix that. A way I fixed this was to turn turn the picture over, flip it, and you reveal how skewed your face is and your drawing's face. See? But yeah, so I'm fixing it up. I'm trying to realign his face so that it's actually more symmetrical, and just doing more clothing kind of designs. But now I'm going to come back to the face and clean up his features. I'm going to flip it back now, and I'm going to see that this eye is really bugging me, and I'm going to move it. And it takes me a couple tries to just really feel like it's okay, but I get it there. So here I'm mapping out his clothes, but I'm going to actually go on another layer. Originally this is supposed to be a Christmas Titus, and the part that makes this pose attractive is how form-fitting his clothing is, but putting him in a Santa suit's just not gonna make it look good. So I had to come to a couple decisions here over what I wanted Titus to be wearing. either his outfit in the game, a Santa outfit, or a different outfit altogether. So I decided to go onto a different layer and come up with a new idea because I just didn't feel confident using the same color red. Or I'm going to pretend like I can do it all in one, but I'm going to erase it because I didn't go on another layer. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I'll go on another layer with a different color. So here I am, like, sketching out the clothing in blue now, and so you can see the fabric a little better. And I'm trying to figure out how the fabric's going to move over him. He's wearing like this vest thing. I feel like he would always have a hoodie. He'd always have like a vest, but I'm making it sleeveless and I'm keeping a form-fitting shirt underneath. So hopefully there's still some attractiveness, but yeah, so here I am fixing that up, putting his necklace, and doing in the clothing lines, folds, wherever they're gonna be. Yep, there they are. Directing, using reference, blocking it out, looking at the shape, movement. And you can see how this is gonna look compared to the other ones. Flashing between the two, original, fake, off of one. Alright, so I'm gonna ink, and usually I would use one of my like Kyle Webster brushes, but because of how much my computer's having to work, it kind of lags and I lose control over the inking brush. So unfortunately, for demoing purposes, we're gonna have to stick with the brush that I usually used with the other two, and that's this just regular round brush. And it just moves a lot faster for me when I use it with OBS, so I'm sorry that I can't show you my fancy brushes. We'll just keep it simple for now. So I'm just coming in and inking it and trying to make sure that I capture the shape of his face in his facial expressions and features, and now I'm trying to get this jaw. Titus doesn't really have a strong jaw. He's very kind of feminine, so yeah, it's kind of difficult sometimes to draw him with like a masculine face. It's very easy to make him look a little girly. In fact, a lot of people when they first play the game think that he is a girl with no boobs. Alright, so here's his little weird necklace thing he always has. And as I was drawing it, I was thinking, oh yeah, it's a T for Titus, right? But then I was like, no, it's the symbol of his dad. It's a J for Jecht. And I was just like, oh, whatever. Who knows? Is it really a J? Is it a T? Is it a TJ? But he always wears it. And then Yuna wears it in the second one. And it gets really confusing because Yuna, is it a Y now? Oh my goodness. It's the universal letter. I'm going through and inking his hair now, trying to get the straight weirdness of his actual hair. My usual thing is to make it like super natural with like wave in it, but then yeah, no, his hair is stick straight. And I'm trying to work this hand, debating how much shadow to include and how much like line width I want to have to show the depth of all these different lines coming and going from around him. And I put a seam in there. It's not going to matter, but I put it there. Now I'm doing his muscles and defining where the muscles connect in the bone, and then I'm drawing his hand here. And yeah, it's looking pretty good. I'm going to take it off, I think, pretty soon here to check it out. Yeah, looking good. Now I'm doing just a couple like folds. Keep those light. Sometimes you just want to shade those. You don't even want to ink folds, but since I'm just working in black and white and flats, I think today, I didn't want to like put too much rendering into the fabric and stuff, so I just went ahead and drew some lines. I'm blocking out his hair here, trying to keep the lines tapering as it comes to the tip, and just blocking it out. Yay, look, without color, there it is. So I'm looking at it going, yeah, that looks about right, and I'm thinking about how I want to do shading. And I decided that I'm going to just spot black his vest so that it adds, again, more line quality. Just like with Lulu last week or 2 weeks ago. You can really tell that adding like spot blacks in really helps the piece feel more balanced and stuff. I work so fast. Then I was using these white lines to show like highlights or folds because you can't see them when they're black on black. That's a nice trick to add if you're ever doing a lot of black on black, like you're drawing Batman or something, is to add a lot of highlights and white folds. So I'm fixing his sleeves so they pop out, and I'm going to fix this hand again so that it looks a bit more natural. His face, it's like, hey baby, What's up? Fixing that fold line is a little too thick. Just want to keep it light and thin. And yeah, I think this is where I'm going to start doing coloring, you guys. Oh no, it's not going to be black and white. So originally this was a Christmas piece, but I just was like, you know, I'm done with Christmas. Let's do Valentine's Day. Because Valentine's Day is next week, you guys. And why not make a Valentine's Day Titus picture? Because there's no reason not to. Here I'm trying to select just him underneath and delete the background layer, so it's like he's white and I don't have to worry about that background. Now I'm going to go through and do this really cool thing where you can just color your line art, and if you've drawn your line art on a separate layer, you can just go over it, hold Alt, and your mouse will turn into this weird creepy arrow when you make your new like layer, and it'll connect it over it. So everything I draw is only going to draw on the layer below it, which is my line art. So I'm colored this like red, I guess. I'm going to change some things. Here I was like, oh, I'll add some dramatic shadow, and then I was like, no, it just makes his neck look bulky. So I'm erasing it and trying to fix it, and it looks all goofy, and it's like, oh, I hate his height. Like this neck, this pose. Why? Why does it have to be so hard? I'm going to go through and clean up some more of this vest, and then I am going to change the color because I didn't like that red. And I've changed that color so it's lighter, more neutral. And my dog's barking. But anyway, ignoring my dog. I'm going to keep continuing to color the hair, and I originally make it a little too pale. With colors, I really experiment in the final piece, which is shame on me. I should probably do some thumbnails and like map out what I want to do, but I never get a chance to. Hold on. So here we are cleaning up his outfit, or his arm, sorry, I got distracted by my dog. Alright, so we're putting in his skin tone now, and you can see it's incredibly pale and really close to the color, so I'm going to go back and actually darken his hair, which turned out to be his whole outfit, and then I darken his skin too, or no, I keep it light. I don't know, it changes over time. And the screen, my monitor makes it a little bit more pale than it was on my Cintiq monitor, so who knows anymore. But I'm just adding a little bit of flesh color so that white isn't as stark. Although it is really cool, sometimes you can make a really cool graphic design by just keeping the skin white. But because he has a white t-shirt underneath and the necklace and stuff, I just needed to make it not white skin. And then here I'm adding the lines back by just erasing the color I put on top of the inks. Alright, and now I'm going to play around and clean up the pieces. And we're going to be doing some more cosmetic stuff to this drawing. Mainly with the background, I like to add textures. So here's my texture inventory. I scanned a bunch of like greeting cards that were all textured. It's super cool. And I just use those mainly. You never really want to put the overlay layer at full blast. Try to tone it down a little bit. And I'm going to play with some gradients here now on the line work. So this is on top of the lines. And yeah, I realized I just totally like went over what I had originally colored. But that's okay because I think it looks really cool to have the gradient in his clothes. That's what experimenting with art is all about. Doing something and then completely covering it up and doing something else. And so here I'm just pretty much playing with colors and textures, trying to make it look right. Titus is blonde, so the purples and pinks look really good with him. And it's a Valentine's Day kind of thing, so I was like, yeah, romance is in the air, or bromance at least. I'm gonna stick a cheesy phrase next to his head, I think, eventually, if I forget. Gotta pick a font, a size, a life. And here I am. Okay, I just pasted the phrase in, I got it online. I don't know. I'm really bad at coming up with puns or jokes or anything, so I have to go find it off the internet. And now I'm going to go through and continue. I think I'm going to color his shirt, and I wanted it to be like a pale neutral color, but I didn't know what color would be best, and it turns out purples still worked out great. There's a gradient on top of this too, so it looks like I'm coloring it with like one purple, but it's actually being adjusted by the gradient on top, and you'll see I'll have to take that gradient off later in order to get the color back again, or else when I use the color tool I'm going to pick an actual different purple. See how much that changed? Yeah, so I'm going to just fill in his sleeves. Titus is looking very purple today. And I'm going to make sure that sentences like capitalized. And yeah, you can see that this pose is so much more natural, and Titus is just so much more attractive than in my last picture. And he fills up the frame a little bit more. I really like how I posted him over to the left, giving a little bit more space to the right. And that only works because he's looking to the right. Again, if I had him looking to the left and had him over to the left, it would be a very odd feeling to the composition. So here you can see my original 12-year-old drawing of Titus in a Santa suit or onesie. And here is the final version of a more casual Titus looking off at somebody, thinking that I'm posing. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of Critique Me Not. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Bye!